Donald Trump has won the Republican presidential primary election in South Carolina. It's his fourth straight win in the primary race, setting him firmly on track to become the Republican nominee. The former president's last major opponent, Nikki Haley, was hoping to secure a win in South Carolina. It's her home state and she served as governor there. She's sworn to stay in the race until the batch of Republican primaries in several states on March the 5th, what's known as Super Tuesday. Well, Donald Trump claimed victory just minutes after polls closed. Here's some of what he said.
I was just informed that we got double the number of votes that has ever been received in the great state of South Carolina. So that's pretty good. So it's a record times two, and there's something going on in the country. Some really great things are going on.
More now with DW's Washington correspondent Janelle de Malayan. Janelle, it was a fairly easy victory for Trump in the end, wasn't it, despite Nikki Haley's hopes that she'd do better in her home state?
Indeed it was, Jared, and we're actually coming to you from a South Carolina primary watch party organized by Donald Trump supporters. As you can imagine, the mood here has been very vigilant. Even though this was a victory that was largely expected ahead of the primary, poll after poll put Donald Trump far ahead of Nikki Haley. South Carolina, that is simply a place where he has a lot of support. In fact, there was a survey out that said that 65% of Republican primary voters would still deem Donald Trump fit for office even if he were convicted for a crime. 2/3 of Republican primary voters believe that Joe Biden did not win the 2020 election and that Donald Trump did. This, of course, is not true. Joe Biden won that election. As for Nikki Haley, of course, this is a terrible blow for her. We are talking about her home state of South Carolina, where she was the governor. But as you said, she is vowing to stay in the race until March 5, Super Tuesday. Her campaign finances still allow her to do that. But in the end, it is likely that Super Tuesday is just another day that will confirm that Donald Trump will walk away with the nomination.
OK, so Janelle, as you're saying, it really is likely now that Trump will become the presidential nominee after this win?
Indeed, after this primary, it merely solidifies the impression that Donald Trump has this nomination sewn up, that the primaries are basically over, even though only a handful of states have voted, and that the general election season has begun, and we're going to be seeing a rematch between Trump and Biden come November. It's just that his victories in the past races in Iowa, in New Hampshire, in Nevada, and now in South Carolina were so decisive that it was really hard to imagine Nikki Haley catching up. Now, of course, as she says, she is going to stay in the race, and there is an argument for her to stay. It is that Donald Trump, of course, is a candidate not without his problems. He is facing 91 charges across 4 cases. It could still be that he ends up having to face prison time either in this campaign season or before the election, in which case she should be next in line. However, barring any of those external events, it is very much likely that Trump will be the Republican nominee.
OK, DW's Janelle de Malayan there in Washington. Janelle, thanks so much for that. So as Janelle just said, Donald Trump has taken another big step to securing the Republican presidential nomination, but a group of Republicans is planning for a future that he's not a part of. Our Washington bureau chief, Ines Pohl, met some of them at another summit called Principles First, happening this weekend in the US Capitol.
It appears that there is currently no viable alternative to Donald Trump as the Republican Party's presidential candidate. However, not all Republicans are in support of him.
And they will not win a general election.
Heath Mayo, a lawyer, is organizing the Principles First Summit in Washington, which aims to find ways to liberate the party from Trump's influence.
I think if he wins, his grip on the party will be finite. The question will be resolved. The transformation on ideas will be complete. The Republican Party will no longer be a party of It'll be a party of isolationism. It'll be a party of conspiracy theories about the deep state being arrayed against average Americans.
It's the second time that those Republicans who are critical with Donald Trump are coming together to discuss the future of their party without the former president.
There are enough people there in Congress and elsewhere, 700 plus people here, Principles First, who actually have a hunger for moral and righteous leadership.
Once we get past this and people can get back to principles like we're discussing here today at this summit, I'm very optimistic about the future in the U.S.
Donald Trump, he'll be at the head of the party for a couple more years, and I have hope that we will get through the attacks on democracy, the rhetoric. You know, it's just so senseless in today's day and age. I'm just so tired of it. My generation's so tired of it.
A 30-minute drive away, MAGA supporters are gathering at CPAC, a summit that was once a platform for conservative discussions and idea sharing. However, in this election year, dialogue and debate seem to be absent as the event resembles a ceremonial coronation of the former president. These contrasting events reveal divisions within the GOP and the ongoing struggle for the Republican Party's core values.